You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 117 of the Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Thursday, May 11th, 2023, and looking out the window, it is a gorgeous blue sky day here at the Beaver Lodge. Which is good because I have some tennis planned for today, which will be very, very, very nice. I'm hearing myself in an echo.
I'll see if I can fix that.
Okay. No, you don't have to fix anything. I figured out what the problem was. The YouTube channel, which I was chatting to the kids while you were waiting, was still open.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. So yeah, tennis today, and as the kids may have seen on my posts, I did take that tennis lesson, and as usually happens with the tennis lesson, your game goes to pot for about 3 weeks as you're trying to integrate it. So yes, that's exactly what happened to to my game, but the shots that connected were beautiful. So I just got to keep at it. But I didn't do like I did last time I took a lesson, which is in the middle of the game, wanting to win the game, and then going back to my bad habits, how I used to play in order to win the game. So I kept plugging away at what wasn't working all the time, and I had that discipline. So yes, while it was very tough for my ego to lose 8-1 against someone I can beat about 50% of the time, and we usually have close matches like 8-6 and stuff like that. The shots I made were beautiful, and I'm just going to take that. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Thank you so much for doing this, and looking super sharp, I must say. But then again, kids, Mr. Grizzly definitely does have a very, very good fashion sense. Very stylish gentleman. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Yeah, Mr. Grizzly, very stylish. It is obvious that you do have gay friends, because there are some people. I see a lot of people, sometimes they're hating on gay people, and I see the clothes and I see the haircut. It's like, it's clear you have no gay friends because they would have told you. That is not a look. Well, it is a look, but by the way,
Good
if
one.
you ever
Yeah,
ask a
good
gay
one.
person, yeah, if you ever ask a gay person how you
Mm,
look, and he turns around and goes, "Well, that's a look." That's not good.
that's not good. Not good. Yeah. Just trying to play with the
Oh,
lighting here. So,
all right.
oh, that's not good.
Ooh, that's better. Now we see
Yeah,
your
I just
eyes.
can't balance it.
Don't
Yeah,
worry
I
about that.
can't balance it there. I'll have to do that. Yeah.
Good.
It's
Good
on the
stuff.
road and it's a temporary studio setup. So, I'll
It's
do the
good.
best I can with what I've got.
Trust me, it's good for today. It gets a show done, and because wow, have we got a lot to talk about, and I'm guessing not a lot of time, but holy
Oh,
crap.
I can give you all the time you want. I can give you lots of time. That's not an issue. It's just I can't give like I'm going to have to jump in at what I'm getting.
Okay, all right. I say I got a little spot of light somewhere right here reflecting from outside, and I'm not sure what to do about that. But anyway, don't get distracted. It must be my drape that's not well closed. All right. In the headlines, um, Ronald Rump Rose is guilty.
Yes,
That's a big one.
very big one.
uh, Guilty of both what they call civil battery, aka rape, and defamation. So, a jury of his peers in a civil court found that not only did he indeed rape her, but lied about it too. And then he was on CNN.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
tried
see
to
that.
watch.
Was it brutal?
I tried to watch. I watched the first 15 minutes. I found out this morning that it turns out that he seemed to have put a condition that it should be an absolute Trump-friendly crowd. Um, Caitlin Collins did what she could in those first 15 minutes. But the one thing that I learned in that first 15 minutes and from what I read afterwards is that there is no second act. There just is no second act. It's
No,
the exact same thing. That's literally all he's got.
pretty much.
So
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
that's going to make for a pretty boring sequel in a short attention span world. So I'm guessing if we follow the rules of horror movies, as in Scream, the sequel must have much more elaborate setups, a higher body count, and much more splatter. So, wow. And it seems that's
You could
exactly
say
what we're
that.
going to get. Yeah. But anyway, that's the first guilty plea. Now, of course, this is civil court, but the fact is that now we can officially say that the leading candidate for the nomination of the GOP is a rapist and someone who will literally say anything about you, even someone they raped, in order to make you look bad.
Yeah.
And he's still doing
Oh
it
yeah.
on the CNN town hall. He's still saying that he doesn't know her and never met her, which makes it kind of hard to rape her. Well, never met her except for that one time at that party, right? Because he knows her husband, who's a
That
great guy like this, but apparently her husband was a black man, and apparently he said that she called him an ape. So, trying to slip in after the
oh.
trial that not only did she lie about him raping her, but that she's a racist to her own husband. I,
Yeah, that makes
there
no
is no
sense
second act.
whatsoever.
There is no second act. There is no second
No.
act. He's got nothing else. So, thank you, next, sweetie. But the fun thing is George Anthony DeVolder Santos, also known as George Santos. That was actually written in the docket.
Yes.
13 charges. 13 charges. This guy.
He's going away for a while.
He's going away for a while. But here's the thing. Now you got Mark Meadows, who's the speaker, turning around saying, yes, she absolutely has to step down and resign. No, all those type of things. Your leading candidate for the nomination of your party is now a convicted rapist and defamer. I think that is way worse than anything George Santos did. But George Santos, Mark Meadows says, absolutely has to go and must step down. But
Yeah,
the tangled
this is
webs we
supporting
weave.
Trump.
He got underwear around his ankles, and he's trying to sprint. Oh man! And then you got Tucker Carlson, who apparently is getting paid $20 million by Fox News, to not compete, to not have a show on another network or even a show for himself. Well, he ran to Daddy Lonnie and said, hey, do you want to do something on Twitter? Now, if you remember Glenn Beck, he was a big thing, and where is he now? And Bill O'Reilly was a big thing, and where is he now? And Gretchen Carlson was a big thing, and where is she now? And Megyn Kelly was a big thing, and where is she now? Most people that end up leaving Fox and try to have a second career don't really have a very good second career because they're not bigger than Fox. And Tucker appears to think that he's way bigger than Fox. He's actually called them, and excuse the language, particular Mama Grizzly, but quote, fuckers in emails. And now it seems that he wants to go to war with Fox, saying that he knows where the bodies are buried. And I was listening to Pod Save America, and they keep on saying, people at Fox keep on saying that. I was like, are we starting to talk about literal bodies here? Because you need to be mentioning it a lot. But of course, that was tongue-in-cheek joke, sort of, because with these people, you always wonder. Anyway, so no, I'm just, well, kidding, sort of. I don't want to get into the conspiracy theory thing like this. Let's just keep it to the. He says he knows where the bodies are buried. Well, sorry, a friend of his says that Tucker says he knows where the bodies are buried, and he's about to draw a map. Now, I don't know if Tucker Carlson wants to forego $20 million because he won't be able to keep that. If he absolutely wants to work, the $20 million is to keep him quiet until 2025, which brings him past the election cycle, which probably would guarantee a descent into irrelevance. Pardon me, I got to sneeze. Sorry about that. And I think that Tucker doesn't want to become irrelevant. I think he likes his platform and his attention. So, yeah, it's going to be a question of, is Tucker greedy, or more of a greedy person, or more of a narcissist? Because if it's more of a narcissist, then he will forego the $20 million and try to make a go of it on Twitter. And if he is not, then he will keep quiet and take his 20 million, and hopefully he'll be able to sell lots of books in the future, or start a podcast or something eventually, and make money off that, become the next Alex Jones or something. Hopefully for him, I'm guessing that's going to be the plan. Or who knows, run for office, right? They're scary. But I mean, it's not like he doesn't have options after 2 years. So it's just going to be a question of whether or not he can afford to not be the face of the next election. So we'll see. But there's a lot going down there. And in Canada, while we have all that going on in the United States, we have a convicted former president. We have a congressman that has 13 charges. We have a couple more people that are not drag queens and transgender people getting their fingers slapped for doing things to people who are underage. There seems to be no end to that parade. So while all that's going on down there, up here in Canada, the earth shook yesterday. Politically, the earth shook. The absolute worst thing that has happened in years took place yesterday in Canada.
Yeah,
We
I saw
unveiled
that.
a new passport. The Great Canadian Passport Meltdown of 2023. Oh
I
my
swear to
word.
God, they've got nothing else to talk about.
Well, that should tell you something, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
We had we had one there's one person that went back to something like some money spent on like April 27th, so much he didn't have anything. I mean, it was the slowest news day in Canadian history. And kids, it's not like, oh, when the Canadian Olympic team unveiled those jean jacket things that people thought was weird, and people laughed and gossiped for. No, 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 no. This was like serious meltdown, like hardcore meltdown. This was like Andrew Coyne, just like practically crying. We have
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Gurney, who after the fact said that, oh, well, no, 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 I was just being cheeky, which, okay, maybe possible for Matt Gurney, because I have quoted some of his work every now and then on stuff that he's very knowledgeable about. But it's also a fact that this whole side of the spectrum, whenever they do something stupid, then turn around and go, well, can't you take a joke, man? So, uh,
Yeah.
but, but the ultimate meltdown, the ultimate meltdown came
Oh, yeah.
from girl. Here she comes, Basic Karen 2023. There you go, Jen Gerson. Come and get your crown, girl. Oh, man. Oh, did you earn that? Oh, girl.
Unbelievable.
It's
The meltdown was
ugly. We're
ridiculous.
a second rate country. I'm going to make this my single. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Single voter issue, the passport. And first, right, it's not so much the designs on the inside, but the cover. Oh my god, the cover. She could get past the pages on the inside, but the cover. Oh, that cover. Oh my. We can't.
When you've
We
got nothing,
just
right?
can't. No, but we can't. We absolutely cannot have that cover. It is so completely and totally offensive. So, Mr. Grizzly, well, let's take a look. What is
Sure.
this thing that is so
Oh, my God. Oh, my
offensive
God.
and horrible?
Oh,
And
what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like, this is just such a trap.
I, I mean, they're both blue. They both say Canada. The new
They
one
both
has
have the
some
crest.
fancy new font. They both have crest. It seems that the new one is slightly a bit modified. They both say passport. They both have a chip symbol on the cover. Oh, what, the new one has a partial maple leaf on it.
Oh, my God.
It
And
is,
the Canada font is larger.
oh,
What are we gonna
and
do?
snazzier, updated. Oh my God,
I don't
I'm, my eyes,
call in the military.
the
Call in the
blood,
military.
the blood. Ah, take it off the screen. Take it off the screen, Mr. Gris. Oh God. Okay. Oh, 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 oh my God. Oh, oh my word.
I can't believe people actually had that reaction, but they did.
I can't keep that
They
thing in my
did.
drawer
Well,
like I did for the last 3 years or the last 6 years. I haven't gone out of the. I can't keep that in my drawer.
I know. Whatever would people think if they saw that in public? That official government document that needs to be.
I just, my God. I said, what are all the pens and pencils and stapler gonna think in the drawer with the passport when they see it there? I
I
mean,
don't know.
she's gonna.
No, they're not going to be able to deal
They,
with it. Like,
oh my God.
it's just a
Okay.
travesty.
I mean, I mean, gee, I mean, Mr. Grizzly, I
I don't
could
know,
it
bro.
be? Well, I mean, look, maybe this is the problem, Mr. Grizzly. It's just that the passport is so damn big.
Oh, no.
I thought the other picture was below. Sorry. The passport is so damn big. Look at it.
What is
I
this?
mean,
A
they had to
passport
put it on
photo?
easels when they unveiled it yesterday.
Jesus.
You need a suitcase for it.
Yes, because that's the actual size.
Maybe that's what it is. I mean, I can't figure out what the other thing, because they're both pretty much exactly the same.
You know, here's the
I
thing. What I'm thinking, Miss Gerson needs a mental health check
I
because to
I
get that
literally
bent out of shape, like, dude, that's seriously messed.
I
Seriously messed.
literally
It's a passport. Get over it.
I literally asked that yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I literally
Well,
asked that.
I was talking to somebody and I said, you have to see the overreaction. I showed it to him and he's like, okay, hang on a second now. We're not erasing Canadian history. Somebody says, oh my God, you're erasing Terry Fox. Yes, because no one will ever remember who he is because he's no longer in the passport. We made a loony with him on it. First non monarch or prime minister to Canadian. How many schools, parks, streets, statues are named and built in his honor? I
Mhm.
the greatest Canadian that ever lived. That's my personal opinion. Your opinion may differ, and that's cool. That's fine. Um, but do you think you're going to erase him because he's not in the past? Don't look at if and when you hand your passport and they stamp it with the visa, do you think they sit there and look at it and go through each page individually? Oh, look at the fascinating Canadian history here. What the hell is wrong with people? Oh, I know what it is. They've lost on every single front. Every single thing. It's Chinese interference. It's 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 always something. Oh, it's the $800,000 we've spent on examining 24 sus extra. It's always something, and they lose snowflake and then there's a metric system rant. You've got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got the kids going. Ellen going, it's a sexy naked leaf peeking out from behind the crown, which Mr. Grizzly reminds me of something else about people which lost their minds a few decades ago. Remember that?
I'm trying to here. There we go.
That photo of Kim Campbell,
Yeah.
her portrait when she was named Justice Minister, and she's basically naked but
Mm-hmm.
holding a robe on a coat hanger behind her because naked justice. Right? And it's sort of like,
People miss the
and
point.
people lost their minds. Lost their minds, lost the symbolism completely. Completely. It's like, yeah, see, get Salsy's going, that's it. That passport's too sexy for its shirt. So, yeah,
That's true.
Mr. Grizzly, absolutely. Like you said, I put it, and it's like I wrote, hey, have you checked on your co-founder, Jen Gerson, lately? She seriously might need a wellness check. She has totally lost any self-control and is a bit of a hot mess. A stress leave and some counseling may be needed. If you care for her, help her now. And she had a whole string
Mm.
of tweets, but a couple in particular were, number one, we had Althea Raj saying, I love history. I wish more time was
Mm.
spent teaching it and civics. I like my current passport, but I think we need a bit of perspective. If you're this upset over a passport redesign, maybe you just want to be upset. Gerson, alternative
Mm-hmm.
position. If you're not this upset about a horrible passport design, maybe you just have no taste.
Oh, girl, please.
Okay, first of all, have you seen? Sorry, this is the gay guy talking now. Have you seen Althea Raj?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
know we're not supposed to comment on this thing, but since she brought up taste, that lady is on point.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
know. I know.
she
Big
got
fan.
taste. All
Big
right,
fan.
number one. Number two, um, women attacking women in the media. That's a great look.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, white woman attacking a woman of color.
Yeah.
This is the only journalist she appeared to take on her feed.
Of course.
The pick on someone your own size. When you have people like this pick on, the people that they're picking on, They're telling you, these are the people I think are inferior to me. These are the people I think I can whoop. These are the people I think I can do this to in public and not enough people will stand up for. I can get away
Oh,
with it.
agreed.
That's the same thing that's going on with all the trans and the gay stuff, right? They're probing to
Mhm.
see
Oh, yeah.
who it is that doesn't have support, who we won't stand up for, and that's who they're going to single out for
See how
special
far they
treatment.
can take it.
Yeah. Then, don't tell me to calm down, she says a few hours into it. Girl, you need to put some Taylor Swift on a loop. You're being too loud. You need to calm down. And then, I admit I am indifferent to the content of the inside pages, but the redesign of the passport cover is utterly appalling. I will be a single issue voter on this file. In 2023, girlfriend, you can tell that in an election that's supposed to be in 2025 that this is going to be your single issue. There's
Not a
poverty.
million
There's Chinese
times.
interference by the People's Republic of China. There's
Privatization of our healthcare across the
privatization.
country.
Tens of thousands of people don't have a family
Like,
doctor, myself included.
mhm.
Wildfires. 30,000
Yeah.
people were evacuated. Still about 20,000 people are out. There's floods in BC. But this is the thing. This is your Waterloo. This is going to be your...
Yeah.
How much freaking privilege do you have? It's like, are you not aware of the look? The look.
No, clearly not. Most of them
I am
aren't.
so
Look,
privileged that I
I'm not
can make
being
this the issue I will go to bat and die for. And I know already now, no matter what happens in the next 2 years, this is going to be my issue. Are you? And then
that is
don't
the
tell me to
whitest
calm
white
down.
privilege ever privileged.
Right? And then she says, don't tell me to calm down. That's where you started. That's where
Yeah.
you started. Okay. And then it just,
Chlorpromazine, please.
pardon?
Chlorpromazine, please.
I mean, if
It's an
that's where you
antipsychotic.
start, where do you go from there? It's just, I really can't. It's absolutely just, it's beyond insane. I do not know what the word for it is. I mean, it's a complete and total meltdown. And the thing is, what's really, really, really interesting is that, well, in 2023, I think 2003 it was, well, here, we'll show you this.
Trying up, but I don't see anything on the screen. It's black.
There we go.
There we go. It's coming up.
From Pierre's burner, from a Twitter account, Pierre's burner phone. Found my 2012 passport. Not one picture of a train. How did we function? Was Canada even a country yet? Did every
Yeah, I
PM
have a
before
passport
2013
from the
hate
90s.
Canada's history? There was nothing.
Yeah,
Our pages were
there was
blank.
nothing. It was completely. It just had maple leaves. That was it. I
So
still
the
I have
last
all my
thing-
passports. I keep all of them,
Right.
and I can pull one up and show examples of just that. Right.
Yeah. So in the last update, we put pictures. We have a new update, more security features. Some of them are pretty freaking cool.
Oh,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah,
posted that they got ultraviolet
Oh, yeah.
in the glow in the dark. There's like
Mhm.
things where you put your finger on it and like something appears because it's thermal.
Mhm.
The plasticized thing with your photo on it can be seen on both sides. There's things that bend. There's 5-color printing because normally we're used to 4-color printing.
Mhm.
There's so many features. So like all this talk about national security and whatnot, that's all in there. There's a little video. I've posted it to our YouTube feed and whatnot. I really suggest you look at it. It's fantastic. But essentially, we had pictures in the last one, and now we have new pictures, and the pictures are more whimsical. So
Mhm.
the last pictures we had were historical. These
Prior to
pictures
that,
are more sort of like every day of Canada life.
be right back.
Okay. So yes, Terry Fox is not in there. The stuff about the Vimy Ridge is not in there, of course. And in all fairness, the people from the Legion, which is the only complaint on the entire day that I had time for, because legitimate. It was there and now it's not there. But At the same time, right, it was delivered in a very, 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 in a dignified manner, right? So we have the Royal Canadian Legion saying, "We are disappointed by the decision to remove an image that signifies the sacrifices made for the very sort of freedom the passport provides. The Vimy Memorial was a fundamental image, also representing a defining moment for Canada, a country emerging as an independent nation with limitless potential. Removing that image in the context of a design change and without knowing the rationale was, to put it bluntly, a poor decision." Fair comment. However, if you look at the designs within the passport, there are images of daily life in Canada. So none of them are historical. So that was removed in order to present something else. And it seems to be that the issue, Royal Canadian Legion aside, because yes, removing the issue does take that away. But if the different things, not just historical things, then yes, it doesn't really go with the flow of the design. That's fine. And there's other ways that we can talk about Vimy. It's not like the Prime Minister doesn't care about Vimy because I think, remember 6 years ago, the address he made at the 100th commemoration that actually knocked everybody's socks off? I don't think he's changed his mind on that in the last 6 years, right? So it seems that the issue that has all the Conservatives, Royal Canadian Legion, accepted, because as I said, that is a legitimate expression, and it was respectfully done without a meltdown. Their complaint is basically that we just have way too much history and way too many heroes and way too many aspects of daily Canadian life. We have more than them, more of those than can fit in the pages of a passport. And therefore, since the first one we had those historical images, those ones are the ones that should be there forever. They should never be swapped out or rotated. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying here. There's also claims that the Trudeau personally did this. Yeah, I doubt very much that the Prime Minister is approving passport cover design. There's a war in Ukraine. There's inflation. We might potentially have another President Trump to deal with. And then we've got Captain Short Pants here trying to destroy everything that is remotely Canadian. He's got stuff to do. He's got way more important things to do than be approving the design cover of a like. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, I know, but he's a dictator. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Now, I understand Kitsazi. I mean, in all honesty, telling a woman to calm down when she's upset will never work, no matter how idiotic we are being. I absolutely agree it. But I'm sorry. It's like sometimes it's just a declarative sentence. It's like you just need to calm down right now because this is not a good look. It's not a good look. I don't know. Now, I understand that Miss Gerson is no longer working for the National Post. She's the co-founder of something called The Line. So she's now working for clicks and likes and donations, like we are. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? Except she does have a background, apparently, in formal journalism. I'm guessing because she did work for paper. Maybe I don't know. I didn't go and read your CBC if she graduated from journalism school, but I'm assuming she has. I'm giving her that credit. Because, I mean, I've seen things from Jen Gerson that are bang on. I've seen things in the past.
This is not it.
So, but this is not it. This is definitely not it. So I'm not sure if this is, again, political performance art. I'm not sure if there just wasn't a natural outrage du jour for Trudeau, so we had to do passports because that's all we had today. But when there's a person I typically don't agree with very much on Twitter, but he did yesterday. We agreed on something, so I celebrated it. And it basically said, the Canadian passport redesign is actually quite nice. A bit of friendly advice for those having meltdown. If you are triggered by everything, no one will know when you are truly serious about an issue. Enjoy the art,
Yep.
touch grass, move on. Dr.
Who's that
Jacobs
from?
Rat. Dr. Jacobs
Okay.
Rat, David Jacobs. Um, Big time Pierre Poliver
Cool.
supporter. Yeah, I also like lambasted him the other day because I can guarantee you Poliver's going to win, and he put it in all caps. I said, "Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
this guy's delivering guarantees in all caps." Okay, so
Yeah.
yin and yang.
Well, no, 100% of the time, and he's dead bang on when it comes to the passport. He's way off the mark when it comes to Skippy, but we don't need to wade into the weeds on that one today. But I mean, come
And
on,
again,
people are losing their shit over nothing. Nothing. It's a government issued document that up until just a few years ago never had paintings in it ever in history. So if you think that's whimsical live suddenly erases we have our great nation after 156 years of confederation, 156 years since confederation. Let's be very specific on that. There were people in this country 10,000 years before the white man came, right? Let's not miss that. That's very important. But if you think that is what is going to destroy the country, wow. It's really scary.
I, again, I cannot disagree. Um, Mr. Grizzly, I think if I can, for a couple of seconds, there's a video about the features of the passport.
You got to give me a minute here. I
I
got to
think.
take care of something. Be right back.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll do that then. There's a little bit of a video. It lasts 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I don't think I'll play the whole thing because it's just over music. Because the people that will be listening will just hear 3 minutes of 21 seconds of classical music. But I'll play a little bit, and you can see some of the features and that some of the imagery and whatnot, and you can come to your own conclusion on that. But if you will, let me just go through a couple of things that we had here. So we also had Jen Gerson attack someone. There's a person that said, "I actually like it. I was surprised to see so many others don't." And she wrote, "Taste is subjective, but yours is wrong." Okay. Uh, so it's full out, full out, full out, full out snowflake alert. Another one that she had is, look, we're pretty much an incompetent second rate rich world nation. The very least we can do is get design right. When I'm saying, it's like, girl, you okay in there? And someone should be calling for a wellness check? I'm not kidding here. This is not me just, oh, well, look at those conservatives. Ha ha ha. Yeah, they're all woohoo. No, no. This is completely and utterly disproportionate. There's no balance. It's way off. Lashing out at other reporters, just lashing out at people, publicly putting your face and name to something saying that we are pretty much, again, quote, look, we're pretty much an incompetent second-rate rich world nation. The very least we can do is get design right. This is not tethered. Not tethered. Not tethered at all. And then just completely. So, I mean, she goes into a whole analysis at one point that of all the things that she doesn't like specifically. And she's like, slapping the modern fonts and decals onto the heraldry. She doesn't like that. She says that it's juvenile and looks like a coronation in an Apple store. The political dimension is unavoidable, the omission of historic moments, blah, blah, blah. But then she says, the stripping of any kind of shared narratives into bland, inoffensive pictures of birds and shit. That's bad enough. But it's the sheer incoherence of the cover that gets to me. This is a country that doesn't have the courage to do away with the heraldry altogether, but wants to be seen as a modern and forward thinking communicates this visual in the most banal way possible. So she's upset that because now we have King Charles, we put the heraldry on the cover. For the record, we should just keep the heraldry and the name of the country. Oh, no. So we should just keep the heraldry and the name of the country. So again, a country that doesn't have the courage to do away with the heraldry altogether, but wants to be seen as modern, but we should keep the heraldry. So I guess she wants to keep the heraldry, but she's upset it's there. You literally saying that you want both things. You want us to indicate that we're a modern country, which means we'd have to remove the heraldry, and then you say, for the record, we should just keep the heraldry and the name of the country. The old design is timeless and keeping entirely with international standards. There's no international standards for what the cover should look like. There's international standards for security features and whatnot, something like this. And I don't know if there are any in the cover. Actually, the Canadian one does have some features specifically on the back cover, according to that video. And that's then when she goes, look, we're pretty much incompetent. And then like just other things too. For example, here are the pictures of the new designs that will be inside the passports, essentially out with the current images of historic Canadians and moments and landmarks, and in with more generic scenes of Canadian life and nature. And then it goes, these look like a children's coloring book. The designs are gorgeous. Then again, look, you can make fun of all of us evil conservative pundits for lamenting the passport redesign, but you can't actually defend the passport redesign because it's ugly. Okay, let's talk about ugly. You know I often say, being skinny ain't worth shit if you're ugly inside. You've got an ugly person commenting in a very ugly manner about something being ugly. Do you see the irony? Do you see the irony? I just... and then, look, I can't fix everything that is broken about Canada, but this is something that can be undone. We don't have to accept this as a people. We can demand better. Again, tens of thousands of Canadians without a family doctor. In Alberta, we're finding out that one of the reasons they might be having more trouble putting out the forest fires is because, well, under Kenney, they axed the repellers program. They had firefighters that would go in helicopters and rappel down and start preparing terrain. Well, they said we don't use them that very often. So they decided to save $1.4 million. You know whose brilliant idea that was? Drunk Devin Drasheen. The guy that apparently got so shit-faced at work that there's a lawsuit against the Premier's office. Yeah. They decided to save $1.4 million by cutting that program. Wow, that was a bang-on return on investment you got on that, eh? And you got some people going, oh, no, Melissa Mbarkey person. Oh, no, there's plenty of stuff that's been going on. There's no blame. No, I think we can put some blame. I think we can put some blame. And Premier Doug Ford better not hope that there are similar events in Northern Ontario because they cut stuff there too. So we got people being evacuated from their homes. We got people without family doctors. We got Canadians on disability needing additional supports, and it seems that is going to be delayed a little bit more. Again, maybe up to a year again, because it seems that the Senate looks like it wants to delay that. It was supposed to come into effect this year. We've got people that are wondering because of food inflation how they're going to make ends meet. You've got Danielle Smith giving $100 to every, I believe, senior and child because the cost of living is just so unbearable. So you've got all these things going on. But this is the thing that we don't have to accept as a people. We can demand better. This is something that we can fix and can be undone. Jen, if you're saying, look, I can't fix everything that is broken about Canada, there is one thing that is totally and completely in your power to fix that is broken about Canada. Yourself. Get on that. We are literally worried about you. And if anybody's from the line is watching this, and you're a colleague of hers, pay her a visit. Because I am seriously concerned that she is not well. She is not well. This is not normal. This is not a normal human reaction to an unveiling of a freaking passport design. A document that for most of us, all we care about is, does it work as a passport? And for most of us, stays in a drawer most of the year. This is not normal. Help her. Screw the clicks, screw the likes, screw the money. Help her. If you love her, help her. This is not normal. All right.
Sir, you're going to have to do the ship steering for the most of this now, because I've got a lot of things I need to take care of. I got a room full of people I have to attend to. So I will pop in and out. Just text me a message when you want to end the show. I'm sorry I can't devote 100% of my time today. But, you know, got to pay the bills, right? That's how we keep the lights on here.
Absolutely. Okay.
I'll be back.
Thanks so much for making this happen. And then you had Andrew Coyne. He's now Andrew Coyne. I know that there's nothing Trudeau. Well, almost nothing Trudeau. I can't say nothing Trudeau. But again, it's the things that they pick. Andrew Coyne, memo to the opposition. Fix this. I don't. What are you going to fix? Memo to the opposition. Fix this. Well, there's a kit on our Facebook blog page. It says, Kit Rod, can Coyne point to the legislation that gives full veto power over passport design to the opposition? Kind of having a hard time finding it. I got nothing to add. Again, Andrew, do you care what you look like? Do you care what you look like? Y'all got too much money and time on your hands. Seriously. If this is your big complaint, it's like all of you people are complaining that the Prime Minister Trudeau's out of touch. Check a mirror. When you get back home, like, check a mirror. Christ. Just, Jesus Christ, jumping up and down on pogo stick. I just, fuck it. These people, crying starvation with full bellies. What a bunch of frickin' whiners. I just, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's just, anyway. And he got really snarky as well on, I'm just guessing that something. And it's like, Maybe less guessing and more facts. I'm guessing they wanted to take the coat of arms off altogether, thought better of it than compromised by shoving it into a corner. What an absolute cringe fest. What the hell is up with the damn coat of arms? Why are they losing their minds? The coat of arms got moved from the center a little bit to there, and we added a partial maple leaf. Coin is melting down. I yeah, this is beyond first world problems. It's just, oh man, I these people, you know what? You always have the choice to say nothing. You always have the choice to say nothing. Less kissing, more facts, being quiet is an option. Moaning about irrelevant things. Passport design doesn't build homes, it doesn't feed children, it doesn't cure people, it doesn't create jobs, it doesn't diversify the economy. All these conservative people with privilege and platform had nothing better to do with it yesterday. With wildfires raging, with super fast snowmelt in British Columbia causing floods, there are people evacuated. There is an appeal by the Red Cross right now. They could have chosen to take a slow day amplifying that. I do not understand how conservative voters think the Canadian conservative movement has their back. It screwed them over during COVID. It screwed them over during inflation. And it's screwing them over now. We need to send a whole bunch of people, like not just one, like a whole freaking box of Snickers. It's just like eat the whole damn box in one sitting because you get a little unpatriotic when you get hangry. Jeez, and you really stop caring what you look like. And seriously, kids, that's when you know you're too far gone. It's like being the difference between tipsy and drunk, or inebriated and drunk. When you're inebriated, you still care what you look like. Yeah, you might be a little sloppy or messy, but you might be trying to walk straight to the bathroom instead of a line because you care what you look like. So when you start getting sloppy all over and you're hanging all over and you're drooling and spitting when you're talking, I love you, man. Or you start talking about all your problems because alcohol is a depressant and you get messy. This is what's going on here. These people are messy. And they stopped caring what they look like. And when you stop caring what you look like, you're too far gone. You're too far down that rabbit hole. And your motives are either or other. Just, should these people not be championing the afflicted? Kid Dan goes, not true, Douglas. Last time I was drunk, I got a tattoo of the Toronto symbol. I love that man. He gets my sense of humor. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm seeing the kids here. I'm seeing the kids here. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah. We figured the weed would have settled people down. Here we are. That's Kid Crazy Cheech, and I think that's the first time I've seen that name. So welcome to the Beaver Lodge. Jen, Kid Jen laughed with a whole box of Snickers. Thank you. I appreciate it. Great audience. Thank you very much. Saucy white privilege parade. Indeed. Indeed. Kit Dan, I saw someone call true to a traitor yesterday for changing it. This has gone from fighting for freedoms to look at me festival. People need help badly.
You think?
Yeah. Kit Bitchin' Bob, also a new name. Welcome to the Beaver Lodge. I learned everything I know about Canadian history from reading my passport nightly.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. That's precisely.
That one
That's
deserves
precisely.
that one deserves a nail file. Sorry, I learned everything I know about Canadian history from reading my passport nightly. I put it in my nightstand right next to my Bible, which I also read nightly after I read my passport. I would be such a if I was a politician, I'd be such a freaking good panderer if I wanted to be.
Well,
I keep
it's
my
a good job, and
passport next
somebody
to my
needs to do
Bible
that.
and my Constitution in my pocket, right by my heart.
Well, of course. You see.
Oh man, these people. Oh my God. Jeez. So yeah, okay. So that was the Great Canadian Passport Meltdown. Oh, while I have you, then yeah, maybe we can show
Mhm.
a couple of seconds those some of those features. So Mr. Grizzly, if you would, and with this you'll be able to get to see some of the images as well. So again, right here you can see the intricacy of the images. Right.
Mhm.
Children's coloring book. Children's coloring book, Jen Gerson said. So, kinogram, metallic leaf, a rotational shift. So, when you're rotating something, you see
Mhm.
sort of
Holographic.
holographic. Yeah, that's the thing I was talking about. Thermochromic ink. So, if you're holding your passport, your thumb is on it, it'll get darker.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty darn cool. Look at that. Children's coloring book?
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Oh, my God, what a travesty. How will we
Tactile.
continue as a nation with
Tactile
such a
plate
travesty?
engravings as well. So when you're touching it, you'll be able to feel something.
Which is
There's
great
ghost
if you're visually
images.
impaired as well.
Exactly. Variable laser images. The polyurethane window is a two-sided window that you
Mhm.
can see from both sides on the page, which has dual ultraviolet printing. And then look at that ultraviolet printing. Look at this
Wow.
in the glow in the dark.
You know how difficult it will be to fake that?
Yeah,
That's why all
there's
these security measures are there.
there's programmed lock stitching between the pages that doesn't necessarily go all the way to the top and the bottom. And then now look at the images. Children's
Oh,
coloring
my
book.
God. That's
They're
it.
gorgeous.
We're finished as a nation. We're
Look at
finished
that.
as a nation. Look at this. Oh, my God. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? That is it. There will be a single issue. I'm calling the manager. These people really need to get a goddamn life.
When I'm
What the?
saying she went basic Karen, and
On
I'm saying
steroids.
basic Karen because I don't want to say the other basic word.
No. We won't do that.
I'm just, come on, man.
We won't refer to her as a female dog. That's a terrible thing. We won't do that. That's not who we are. We are better than that.
Well, I mean, we have used the words a couple of times. In the past.
Well, yeah, but not referring to a person.
I may have.
Oh, I don't.
Well,
Not
I've used the biatch. Well, others, but
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
well, come on. It's like when I'm saying biatch, we all know what I'm saying.
Oh, yes.
When I'm saying shite, we all know what I'm saying. When I'm saying freaking, like,
Yeah.
just because I have enough control of myself in the moment to think about using the derivative.
This is
It doesn't be what?
hang on. I'm trying to highlight a comment here.
Okay,
Let's
I've
see
never
if
had
I
a
can.
passport, never been anywhere on a plane. I tried the States by
That's
bus
not
in
the one I
'04,
meant,
and they
though.
made it clear I wasn't welcome, so I went to the Casino Windsor, won $40. Again, Dan. Oh my
This is the
God.
one I wanted to highlight from PNC bio.
Oh yes, stop showing it. It's making me gay. So after seeing those fluorescent images, all of a sudden, I want to put on my best frock and go read to children at a
Mhm.
library. I bet you know it's coming. Somebody's going to write it. It's like, if you touch the passport, it'll make you gay.
Well, I heard we're considering doing the entire passport in red instead of just red maple leafs on the back, the entire thing in red. And people freaked out. And I'm like, Switzerland has a red passport. They've had that
We
for
have a red
decades.
passport.
That's for special diplomatic
Yes,
missions.
we have a green
So
passport.
that's why. Yeah, that's why I
It's
think
like,
they won't be.
we all get the dark blue one, most of us, but like, we've got a lot of them.
Well, the red passport's more burgundy than red. Not bright red like the Swiss passport. Swiss passport is bright red.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. We have a there you go, Mr. Grizzly. I'll just put it right up there, because not everybody gets to see all of them, right? They're different ones for different purposes. But there you go. This is the one we most know. But then there's the diplomatic passport. There's the special passport. I had a green one once when I worked for the Canadian International Development Agency, and they were going to send me to visit some projects in India and Nepal. They printed that one for me because it makes it easier for you to get through, because you have to have a, I was there on government business, so I would have had that one.
I know lots of people that have two. They have their blue and then their green, and the green is just for diplomatic missions.
Yeah, there's a temporary passport. There's one that's a travel document, one that's just a certificate of identity. So, and then there's an emergency document too. So, for example, if you get stuck somewhere, for example, in a country where there's an uprising, or you lose yours, and you need an emergency document, there's one there. So, right, there are 6 different colors as well. Well, 7. Sorry, 7. Yeah, that's the what. Had they done that, then they would have and then displayed them.
That really would have set them off.
Then they would have lost their minds even more. Oh man, these people! I tell you, nothing better to do.
Get a life.
All right, moving on for that. Well, I actually said that to someone. It's like, Andrew, I think you need to lease a life. Because
with an option to purchase at
buy
the
one,
end
rent
with
one,
a
steal one, lease one
option.
Yeah.
Just get it. Make it happen.
I mean, come on, man. They lost their minds. Now, there's one thing, since I have you, there's one thing I do want to show you, because the Leafs are on life support. So
yes, but they won last night.
Were able to win their match last night. And then
Barely.
The Oilers did as well. So the Oilers tied their series. They're tied at 2. The Leafs are down 1-3. But there is something that happened in the Oilers game last night, and I think we're allowed to show if it's fewer than 30 seconds, right?
Yes, yeah, less than 30 seconds we should be okay with. But NHL will climb on us.
This will definitely be fewer than 30 seconds. So here we go, Mr. Grizzly, if you would. Okay. Boom.
I can't hear anything.
Okay. Well,
was that the empty netter?
It was just talking to the commentator, but it was more the move. But here we go. We can do it again, and we'll have some sound.
But here it is here. Now it's late. This is gone, and he comes down aggressively. I mean, that's a hard slash up into the higher
arms.
Okay.
Draisaitl.
Now. Pardon?
One of their stars, Draisaitl.
Well, that's the thing, Mr. Grizzly. They said this is an absolute garbage play. Could be a more obvious intent to injure. Suspension. People are clamoring for a suspension for that. Now, it's not just, when there's talking about it. I agree, this is dirty. And people are going, oh, that was quite the commentator was going, that's quite an undisciplined play by Pietrangelo from the Panthers. No, that's not an undisciplined play. Mr. Grizzly, if you would put that up. Okay, that's not helping. Here we go. Leon Draisaitl, the number 1 point getter in the playoffs so far. In 10 games played, 13 goals, 5 assists. The closest in goals is a person that has 7.
Yeah, there's a big difference there.
Okay. In points overall, 18-17, because Connor McDavid, who's also on his line, has more assists, has 12 assists and 5 goals. He's got 13 goals, right?
And
This
how many
is
games
not
played?
in 10 games.
10 games, yeah.
10 plays.
That's pretty
Okay.
that's pretty crazy.
Draisaitl is the leading scorer in the playoffs. This is not an undisciplined play. And he's the leading scorer by a lot. This is an intentional attempt to take out the star to improve odds. This is not undisciplined.
No. That was intent. Definitely intent. I like Dean
And that's what
Savage's
turns a lot
comment.
of people off hockey.
Dean's comment is, I get to watch some good hockey or they lose, as is tradition, which reminds me of the South Park Canadian prince and princess wedding. He dips his arms into the royal pudding, as is tradition. This is a glorious day for Canada, indeed all the world, as is tradition. You've seen that.
I love the other one when they had Celine Dion had to sing like the national anthem, or it was Saddam as if she sang the whole world would blow up. Then you had like downtown Canada.
Yes, downtown Canada. Yeah.
The little things. I love South Park. So yeah,
You're right about that, Daniel. Evander Kane should have been tossed for that one as well. That was blatant attempt to injure. Okay, I got to jump.
And then in the first period, there was that number 7 from the Panthers. I don't know who it is, but basically charged an Oiler right into the boards after the play too, like really hard. Like he charged, and then you could see the camera was on him, and he charged him, and then stopped, and like, did anybody see me? You can see him looking both ways. I know I did something wrong. Did anybody see me? I was like, he did get a penalty for that either. Okay. And he did not get a penalty for that either. So, some stuff is getting dirty. Got Dean Savage here going, the Duke and Duchess of Calgary had me in stitches for some reason. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, and Danielle says, yeah, but Evander Kane cross-checked a guy in the throat the previous game, and he wasn't suspended, so I'd call this attack a draw. Yeah, but if people are cross-checking people in the throat, and you need to put a stop to that, because this is only round 2. This is only round 2. I understand wanting to win, but you can't want to win that badly. Just saying. Got to keep it in check. There is news that, as I mentioned, the Canada Disability Benefit might be delayed. And this pisses me off to no end. And once again, kids, when this was announced, we did write the office of Minister Carla Culturo, because we know that we have good listenership among the disability community. We were told that the minister would not have time. Now, that's the person that controls access to the minister, not the minister. So I don't begrudge the minister. I do, however, not understand why it is that we were denied, because we do talk about disability issues, and we had the interview with Melissa Asabikwe, Dufo Asabikwe, and it's a file that we wanted to, this was the first cabinet minister and first elected official that we actually asked for an interview. That's how important the subject is to us. And we were told that they didn't have time. And I know that around the time they were preparing for some type of announcement coming up. And when I wrote back to say, when you're saying you don't have time, do you not have time like today or in the next few days because of the announcement, or that the minister will not have time ever? And we got no response. So there you go. Now, there was a 10th session of the Senate committee yesterday where they went through it clause by clause. And they're talking, and there's a YouTube feed called at the 280 times. It's called the 280 times trivia channel, but the at is at the 280 times. And they actually have a link to the thing, and they did a running commentary on it. And apparently so I'm going to go through it a bit here and pick up some stuff. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that because that's quite long and I don't want to. I'll just direct you to it. But it's Chantal Petitclerc, who's a former Paralympian, is on this particular committee. So, which is helpful. I'm just not understanding. I'm trying to find a reason why this is being delayed yet again. Ooh, we're getting a sock show. Hey, be careful with socks. People might think you're a Trudeau lover. Those are some stylish socks.
Donnie doesn't shut up.
So, yeah, I'm not quite sure why it is they're saying that it's planning to be delayed, but it looks like it's something in the Senate. I will try to get more information on that for you kids to be able to report back on it, because this has been going on for a long time. But there has been an interesting proposal that has been made by someone on Twitter, which I very much second, and it's Tyler Stack. And Tyler Stack basically describes himself as a weirdo commie, and lives in Ontario, and states the grocery rebate should be monthly to people on federal or provincial disability support until the Canada Disability Benefit starts, and the NDP should have made that a condition of their support for the budget. That's actually a damn good point. That's a damn good point. If the Canada Disability Benefit is going to be delayed, I think it is only reasonable that the government announce that the grocery rebate should be monthly for people who receive federal or provincial disability until such time as the Canada Disability Benefits kicks in. I see no reason for which the disability community should be punished longer, because they've been patient enough. And Creator knows that during the pandemic, there was only one $600 top-up. There were other things that got additional top-ups, but for some reason, the disability community wasn't determined to be deserving of a second one somewhere along the way. And $600, while always helpful, doesn't go far, especially when you're spreading it out over about 2.5 years of pandemic. Because that $600 came in the first few months to deal with things that had happened up until then. Well, things happened much longer afterwards, and there was no additional top-up. So yeah, I would agree. And maybe even since that grocery rebate is not going out quarterly to everyone else, I guess that it could be. I guess that is possible. I guess they can see in a couple of months that food inflation isn't that down that much, and renew it quarterly for all those who qualified. But I would even double it for the disability community. I would double it. It's not that the numbers are that great that it would be completely onerous. It probably could be to that. You can double that GST rebate and give it to the disability community. I think we could afford that. Anyway, just my thought, but I am not impressed with the fact that when it comes to the disability community and students in particular, that it seems that they're always on the last priority, and when things need to be done urgently. Now, of course, you're serving as a government, you have to serve all the people, and first you serve the greatest number as fast as you can, and then, but when you're always in the back of the line and you're always the last one, And, you can get CERB out in like 2 or 3 months, but you can't get a disability top up out in a year and a half or 2. I start to wonder. Now, of course, the issues are much more complicated because there are various forms of disability and various forms of need, and to try to create a program that meets all of that is not obvious, and clearly it takes time, and you want to get all the input in from stakeholders and make sure you get it right. But again, the delay is this is too long. It's too long. It's too long. So, and you've got to shore people up in the meantime. Because even if it was something where there would be a back payment, retroactive, it still doesn't help people now. It still doesn't help people now. And people need to eat now, right? So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just hope that it gets done relatively quickly because it's something that is needed. I'm sorry from the noise in the background, Kits. I'm not sure Mr. Grizzly might be aware that it's the sounds of what he's coordinating over there seems to be being captured. Hold on a second, and I'll be right with you. Hold on a second.
So good morning. I'll just provide a quick summary of financial statements that are on page 53 in Diligent. And
I'm just texting him here, and I'm putting the mic on mute for the moment, just in case. There you go. Okay, I put it on mute for.
I forgot my camera was on.
That's okay. That's okay. No worries. I had put it on mute for a little bit just in case there was something that wasn't supposed to go through. All right, there we go. Now we can hear the Grizzly secrets, says Kid Saucy. If you're listening at home and not watching, apologies for that little moment of dead air. But I just wanted to make sure if there was anything being said over there that was supposed to stay over there, that we didn't bring it in over here. So I just did a little mute there for a bit while we took care of that. So that's what went on if you're listening at home, and apologize for the dead air for a second there. All right. There's something that happened in New Brunswick, which is a little bothersome to me as a member of the rainbow community. It says that the Higgs government had introduced a policy on sexual orientation and gender identity in schools. And of course, as always, that meets with some backlash from a segment of the community. And as Canadians, we hope, as was the case when Kathleen Wynne in Ontario redid the curriculum and added the sex education stuff to update it, that these are done by educators, pedagogues, and that they know their stuff, right? Well, the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development confirmed it is reviewing the policy designed to support gay, lesbian, and trans youth, quote, after hearing concerns and misunderstandings of its implementation. And I'm reading this from a CBC article. The review was already underway before Education Minister Bill Hogan distanced himself and his department from a recent sexual orientation and gender identity learning session for teachers. So it's a learning session for teachers, so that they can be equipped to then handle this issue in the classroom. They decided not to go to that. So after a small crowd protested the session last Friday, Hogan issued a statement saying his department had nothing to do with the event. and urged people with questions to contact the New Brunswick Teachers Association. Thump. Thump. That's the New Brunswick Conservatives bus backing up over teachers right there. Teachers and parents and others are accusing Hogan of caving into hate and putting teachers in an unsafe working environment. Gail Costello, a co-chair of Pride in Education, a nonprofit group of educators who helped organize the session, says, "It would appear that they yielded to the pressure of the protesters. We would expect that they would show leadership, stand on the right side of history, stand up for teachers, and stand up for kids, but that's not what happened. They threw the New Brunswick Teachers Association under the bus." So I guess my thump was right.
Sorry that I forgot to mute my mic there. I forgot I left my camera on. I've got all kinds of stuff. I'm literally monitoring a room for 50 people with multiple cameras. It's, a lot. So I'll jump in and out periodically to say hi, but just send me a text if I'm not on camera and you want to end the show, just let me know.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Part of the program was to familiarize teachers with the sexual orientation and gender identity policy, or policy 713, as it is known, so they'd know how to implement it in their classrooms. The department didn't make the education minister available for an interview on Monday, but a spokesperson assured us that the department does not condone the tactics that were directed at our teachers, and we will always ensure human rights are protected. Except when it came time to stand with the teachers, it's, we didn't have anything to do with that. That policy we said that we're doing, well, now there's some people upset about that, and we're going to refute that. The policy, in effect since 2020, lays out minimum requirements for school districts to create a safe, welcoming learning environment for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex, and two-spirited students. It says such controversial things as students have the right to self-identify and express themselves without fear of consequence. Scandalous. And it also says that teachers must create a school culture where the students see themselves and their lives positively reflected. The bastards. The policy allows students to pick which pronouns apply to them and requires teachers to respect their choice. Wow. People actually being able to choose how they identify and asking people to respect that. The horror. The horror. It lets them establish gender sexuality alliance groups without requiring parental consent or notification. Okay. Sure. Freedom of association. I'm okay with that. It also says each school must have at least one gender-neutral bathroom. Well, that'll frickin' break the bank. One. In a whole school. This is a travesty. What are you going to remove from that? Which of these provisions are you going to remove or sliver down or shave down to appease the loudmouths? I don't get it. I don't get it. And this, kits and cubs, is why you can't trust conservative governments to have your back if you're a minority. Because when push comes to shove, and eventually there will be a shove, they don't stand with you. They don't just say, no. Our job is to make sure that every child has the ultimate best learning conditions. The best teachers, the best curriculum, the best environment, that they feel safe, that they feel seen, and that they are respected as an individual with their own personality. And some people have a problem with that. All kids. The government serves every single one of us. It can't always be about your thing. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. A lot of people need to grow up. A lot of people need to grow up. If in order for you to feel that your kid is safe, other kids need to be made unsafe, then you're probably wrong about what it is that you think you need for your kid to be safe. One gender-neutral bathroom in an entire school. That it's okay to have a GSA, a Gay Straight Alliance, in the school, if you so choose to have one. That you can be called what it is you want to be called. What are you going to scale back on? Just kids. They're kids. Stop bringing your stupid adult issues that you have unresolved and imposing them on the kids. The kids are all right. Stop damaging them. Man, come on, people. They're kids. If you can't be kind and accommodating to kids, again, you know what we talked about being too far gone? You might be too far gone. Yeah, Kid Saucy, if you cannot control the kids, you destroy them. That's the conservative way. Oh, I know some people who can speak to that. Not me, but I know some people can. Yeah. PC and bio. You only get those things if you're rich, white, and straight under a conservative government. People are going to clue in sometime before the year 3000. We have Kid Pete who
If we
joined
still
us.
have a
Hello,
planet.
if we still have a planet. Yeah. I guess, and while that's
Really?
going on, yeah, I agree. And while that's going on, you have the abortion thing coming back up federally as well, right? For the same very reason. Now, I haven't read up on what the proposal, what it is, but there is a conservative backbench MP, I guess, putting out some type of proposal with regard to abortion. And Pierre Poilievre, sorry, even though he says that he is pro-choice, well, he still allowed this to happen. From CBC, Conservative MP's bill on violence against pregnant women revives abortion debate. Activist groups believe bill could lend itself to a legal argument for fetal rights. So, a private member's bill from a Conservative backbench MP, Conservative MP Cathay Wagenthal. Is it Wagenthal or Wagentail? I think Wagenthal. Okay. Wagentail would have been, wow. Gee, talk about an unfortunate name. Wagenthal. Her bill would encourage judges to consider physical or emotional harm to a pregnant victim as an aggravating factor during sentencing. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to cough again. Quote, it's focused on pregnant women being attacked by a third party who wants to cause injury or death to that individual. Okay. Sounds all right. Up to there. Wagenthal opposes abortion, but she said the legislation has nothing to do with abortion and is entirely focused on violence against women. But the Abortion Rights Coalition of Canada is urging MPs to vote against the bill on the grounds that it promotes fetal rights, even though there is no mention of fetal rights in the text of the bill itself. Coalition Executive Director Joyce Arthur said some groups who oppose abortion view the bill as a positive step because they feel it would legally recognize preborn children in the case of violent crimes, which is not the case now. On the surface, it might not seem like an objectionable bill, but there's all kinds of associated reasons that we're very suspicious of it. I thought that was very revealing and very alarming in terms of if this law was passed, how it could be misused, misappropriated by the anti-abortion movement, how they could build on it to try and establish further restrictions. Now, I have never heard of MP Wagenthal in my life. I cannot speak to her motives. Get Pete going, wagon wheel. Now that's going to be stuck in my head. Now it's going to be stuck in my head. MP wagon wheel. Oh my God. So yeah, immediately, like I see the kids, right? She's lying. It's a first step toward giving fetuses rights. And that's the claim here. And I mean, we know that this is a tactic, right? When they were like trying sex selective abortions, like that was a thing in Canada. So yes, PNC bio. Oh my God, they're trying there, and trying has levels. They are trying as in attempting, and they are trying as in like my patience and my last gay nerve. Now, private member bills rarely become law, and this one is similarly unlikely to get through. But and I wish Mr. Grizzly was here because Status of Women Minister Marcy Ian, for whom he has a particular affection, was in a building across the street announcing the government would give $4.2 million from the Sexual and Reproductive Health Fund to projects intended to improve access to abortion. And she does describe the bill as an effort to reopen the abortion debate. She says, "We are not a government that will trick people into places that would limit the access to women across our great country to get an abortion," Ian said when asked about the legislation. That's just smooth. Who else was there? Campaign Life Coalition President Jeff Gunnarsson said he absolutely hopes the proposed bill contributes to a legal argument for fetal rights. So he said the quiet part out loud, and restrictions on abortion in the future, but thinks it's unlikely. While the bill would move to protect an unborn child in the womb, Gunnarsson said it does not protect it against abortion, only violent crime. But of course, they say abortion is murder. And what more violent crime is there than murder? See how it works? Clever fundamentalists. Clever fundamentalists. Still, he said he was surprised to learn that conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who defends a woman's right to choose, I've said it, I'm on the record, plans to support the bill. It's still 2 years from an election. You got to keep those donations running in. And well, Canadians have short memories, so they don't remember this in 2 years anyway. So let's keep the money rolling in, and let's throw a little red meat. We see you, girlfriend. This bill is the latest iteration of similar proposed legislation put forward by Wagenthal to protect unborn children from violence in 2016. So, all right. With the 2016 version named Cassie and Molly's Law, Wagenthal sought to make it a separate offense under the criminal code to injure or kill a fetus while committing an offense against the mother. Her latest bill is more squarely focused on aggravating factors during sentencing, she said. The difference is this is very, very honed and very specific. Again, right? If you are attacking a pregnant woman, and let's say, for example, an abusive spouse, threatens, in order to keep her in line, says, I'll give you a good sucker punch, a couple of sucker punches in the gut, and I'll fix your problem. Yeah, you'd probably want a law like that as an aggravating factor. But it does open the door. It opens the door. And with this group, if you give a millimeter, they take a nautical mile. So, I don't trust them further than I can throw them, and I can't pick them up. So, you got that going in the background. I keep on saying, if you really are pro-choice, then you shouldn't even be opening the door to the possibility. The Prime Minister did that by making it an absolute requirement to be a member of his caucus. That whatever you believe in your personal life, when you are representing this government and this party to the public, you are pro-choice. And if you can do that, then you could be a member of this caucus. And if you can't, then you need to go to the Conservatives. Because you're not going to be welcome within the DP or the Greens either. And probably not the Bloc. So, there's only one party. Well, two if you include the PPC, but they're not in the House. But there's only one party right now that keeps on rolling out the welcome mat. On the basis of, well, it's, freedom of your political expression and your thought and whatnot like this. We'll never support it as a party. But, if a backbencher wants to do it and 80 of our 115 members want to vote for it, well, I won't stop them. It's like when you got like thin edge of the wedge abortion bills and motions going through, and 89 of 119 of your party support it like this, but it's a private member's bill. That's using the back door. That's using the back door. But you can deny it. You can say, "Oh no, like this." But if you're the leader of your party, if you're not putting a lid on that, the moment that pot starts steaming, and you're taking it off the burner and saying, "No, we're not doing this," like Harper did. I don't even think Harper did that on abortion, though. I mean, he did that on a couple of things, but I think there were a couple of private members' bills on his time too. Yeah. It's sorry, because if you're allowing even a 0.5% chance of something going through, then you're not against it. You're not against it. If you're just someone who's gonna say, well, I won't publicly support it or do anything to make it happen, but I will, if it so happens, and oh well, then you're not against it. Because if you're against it, you do something, you take action to stop it. If you don't, you're either indifferent or you are tacitly supporting. So, okay, Keith Pete says it's bedtime for him, so good night, dear friend. Sleep well, sweet dreams. So yeah, I believe that's pretty much
that. But the new bill that's before the Conservatives presented about protecting pregnant women.
Yes, that's what we're talking about right now.
Okay,
yeah, so that's what we're talking about right now.
Aren't there already laws on the books against beating people up, period, whether they're male, female, pregnant, or otherwise? So
yes, this is about including it as an aggravating factor at sentencing.
Yeah, they're just trying to backdoor their way into saying, well, preventing abortion. That's what it is. It's an incremental backdoor. Going to strip women of.
Yep.
And it's disgusting. It's disgusting because they don't care about women unless they can control them. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. I got to jump out again. Sorry. Super busy.
No worries. Got Kid Daniel saying, got a shower and head to the city hall. Great job. Have a great day. I'll thank you for the compliment. And you Go make things happen at City Hall, my friend. All right? Love that guy. Love that guy. He's engaged, he's got a positive attitude. Love that guy. He's just great. Be a Dan, people. Be a Dan. All right. What else have we got going on in here? We got Danielle. Oh, my Lord. Girl. What can I say? I don't know if I want to get into... I guess we kind of have to. The election campaign is really not going well in Alberta for the UCP. Now, it seems that every damn day there is a new video. Every damn day. We had the poppies and her saying that having put into place the COVID restrictions basically ruined it for her. So she's basically on a talk show with somebody else. And she says, I notice you're not wearing a poppy, and I'm not wearing mine either, because they ruined it for me. Seriously. Now, you had this guy who writes for the Western Standard. His name is Nigel Hannaford. And he basically wrote this thing called Smith Had Nothing for Which to Apologize. And in this, he says, I'm going to read from this. However, okay, well, actually, let's go there. It's hardly unusual for politicians to try to define their opponents in the minds of the public, painting an unflattering picture that the other person then has to get past to get the votes. Twisting words and misrepresenting positions is all part of it. Not honest and not nice, but absolutely the way the game is played. Everybody does it. However, Rachel Notley's attempt to represent Daniel Smith as comparing vaccination to the Holocaust is egregious. It is a dissimulation of such epic proportions that by comparison, slyly reminding us that Smith used to talk about user fees seems merely catty. It invites not merely condemnation, but mockery. Come, Miss Notley, we're talking about serious things. Let's have an adult conversation. From the Western Standard. Okay. Joke of the day. So, let's start by recognizing that Smith does not think people who accepted vaccination are Nazis, or even that they're like Nazis. Nobody thinks that, and even if they did, nobody would say so publicly, and yet she did. Okay, she didn't outright say that those who took them are Nazis, but okay, but let's see what she did say. Here's what she actually said. Here also is the context, which has been hardly reported at all. In a 90-minute conversation as a guest on a financial services podcast during the fall of 2021, the mouth that could not resist a microphone. No, sorry, he didn't put that one. That was Smith and host Andrew Rowland talked about the meaning of Remembrance Day. Rowland called Remembrance Day more important than Canada Day because, of course, on these pictures on these things, wrap yourself in the flags and the valor of the patriots and stuff like that too. Like, lift yourself up before you punch down on everything that the veterans fought for. But first you got to do that, right? Because that's the recipe, right? That's how these things work. He then launched into a prolonged lament that in the face of the heavy-handed response to COVID-19 by Canadian governments at all levels, ordinary Canadians had surrendered the freedoms that were legacy to them. No, they actually did the same thing, right? The veterans, when they weren't veterans, but actually soldiers, sacrificed stuff. They gave up things like living at home and time with family and time with kids and seeing their child being born, or they just got married and didn't actually get a honeymoon, right? They did that. They did that in order to protect them. They sacrificed, right? What we celebrate is their sacrifice. So Canadians were asked to sacrifice. They were asked to be like our veterans. They did not, they weren't asked to surrender freedoms. They were asked to go arm in arm, stand shoulder to shoulder. So that, as I keep on saying, and I get this from Ian Lavanzant, I am not my brother's keeper. I am my brother. I am not my sister's keeper. I am my sister. In an emergency, I do for you what I would do for me. Right? Smith agreed, taking note that her host was not wearing a poppy. And here's what she exactly said. I see you're not wearing a poppy either. They've ruined it for me this year. Again, and as we said on the show, if that's all it takes for to remove, if that is all it takes, you being asked to stand with your fellow Canadians, to do a little something, to make a little sacrifice, so that the nation can stay strong and together and get through an attack from an enemy. It wasn't humans and it wasn't guns, but it was a virus. And people were dropping like flies. And we were trying to eliminate it or at least get it under control. So an attack by an enemy that was threatening us all. If that's all it takes to have Remembrance Day ruined for you, well, then you don't know what it's about. And you should probably move to another country. Because clearly this one's too much for you and you can't handle it. I see you're not wearing a poppy either. They've ruined it for me this year. The political leaders standing on the... Oh, sorry. I have to do my Danielle voice. Sorry. I see you're not wearing a poppy either. They've ruined it for me this year. The political leaders standing on their soapbox, pretending that they care about all the things you just talked about, pretending they understand the sacrifice and not understanding that their actions are exactly the actions that our brave women and brave men and women are standing against. Our brave women and men are standing against sacrifice? They stand for it. They're literally the physical embodiment of sacrifice. What actions would those be? The actions of governments that long for control. Smith goes on to mention an episode of the Netflix series How to Become a Tyrant that examines how Adolf Hitler was able to use his peculiar talents of deception to mislead an entire generation of Germans into authoritarian society that left no room for individual responsibility or conscience, one with a designated in-group and, to the horror of the Jews, a designated out-group upon which the self-righteous could vent their righteous anger. Okay, here's the thing. In any political conversation, when the first place you need to go to get an example to illustrate your point has anything to do with Hitler, you're already not on good green grass. The odds are probably about 98.7265% that this is going to go bad for you. But chin up, ass out, forward. Nevertheless, she persisted. And nevertheless, this guy here, like Ben Shapiro, right? When we said, the reason that Harlan Cross has a copy of Mein Kampf and 2 paintings painted by Hitler in his home and swastika embossed linens must be because the Holocaust was so horrible that he wants to remind himself of how terrible it is. Explain. So this is this guy here, this, what's his name again? Nigel Hannaford guy attempting this similar type of exercise to whitewash Danielle. All right. So here's what she says. And he's saying, like, here's what she said. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch the Netflix series How to Become a Tyrant, but it starts with Hitler in the first episode, and it's absolutely appalling and shocking. And one academic says they must have filmed this before COVID. So many people say that they would not have succumbed to the charms of the tyrants, somebody telling them that they have all the answers, and this academic said, I guarantee they would. Okay. Now, when she says this, what I hear is so many of us have succumbed to the charms of the tyrants. All right. Okay. Yeah, there was more than that. We had Pol Pot. We had Hitler. We had Stalin. I guess maybe she wasn't, but I mean, okay. Hitler's like at the top of the list, but it's not like, say, you know what? Yeah. If I had to undergo a genocide, I would have much have it done under Stalin or Pol Pot than Hitler. I think that would have been the way to do it. Right? They're all bad. Right? There's a minimum bar of bad, and it is all shocking and horrible and appalling. And then there are just worse among them. All right. So we're comparing them to the charms of the tyrants, somebody telling them that they have all the answers. So who would be the tyrants then? The prime minister and Dr. Fauci, right? The people that, I don't know, study governance and study epidemiology and vaccinology. The people who know what they're talking about, just that they might have all the answers. Well, they never claim to have all the answers. It's very rare that an actual scientist claims to have all the answers. Scientists have a lot of questions and very, very, very few answers, actually. They're just some of the best among us at finding answers. So I doubt very much that a Dr. Fauci, for example, would have had as long a career as he did if he walked around claiming he had all the answers. Now, the loudmouths, however, have all the answers. Right? Ground the jet, cut the taxes, remove the gatekeepers. What if we had bank accounts that your friends could contribute to if you got sick? They have all the answers. Now, he goes on, I don't want to put words in Smith's mouth. Now, watch me put words in Smith's mouth. But so many Canadians had just done something very similar, placing their faith in the power of the state. This conversation took place at a time when Justin Trudeau's government had only days before used the coercive power of the state to mandate that in the name of science, all federal employees and all employees of federal regulated enterprise had to be vaccinated or lose their jobs. That was wrong because it wasn't in the name of science. It was in the name of keeping each other alive. In the name of keeping each other alive. The measure proposed, which was backed by science, was mass vaccination and trying to reach a population threshold of vaccination that would be able to establish some type of immunity for the percentage that we all know will not row in the same direction as the rest of the team, because we recently saw it with measles. Right? It's not. We're doing this in the name of science. We're doing this in the name of solidarity to keep each other alive because we have a duty to each other, as Charles Adler said, to give ourselves health care, to keep each other safe. And the methods that we used to do that were backed by science. Nice little twist and torque there. True, not all Canadians liked it. A lot of people were mad, and they had reason to be because the so-called science generated different and inexplicable responses around the country. No, it did not. It did not. In Quebec, science required an overnight curfew. In other provinces, it did. No, science did not require an overnight curfew in Quebec. That was a policy decision. It was governmental policy. It was not science. At least it was not virological science. It might have been behavioral science, behavioral studies. People are more likely to do things at night that transmit COVID than during the day. Possibly. I know there's lots of things that happen when the sun goes down where people are breathing closely to each other's mouths. Just saying.
I came in at a weird time.
Just saying. We're talking about this guy that wrote the Western Standard who said in Quebec, science required overnight curfews. No, it wasn't science. That was a
The hell does that mean?
I know. It's, you came in late. I'm reading some wackadoodle thing that's trying to pose as an intellectual doing a Ben Shapiro thing.
I apologize today for yesterday. I know yesterday's show was a complete technological mess, and I apologize for that. But I apologize today that I've not been able to give you my full, unadulterated attention. It's just I'm trying to do multiple things here, multitasking. You know, when you're running a full production, that's how it is. So I apologize to the kids, the Cubs, and yourself, Mr. Beaver. Just I feel guilty, but that's the Irish Catholic thing coming out.
Guilt is a useless emotion.
When you grow up with it, it's hard to get rid of. Yeah. But I do feel guilty because I'm not able to give you my undivided attention. But it's just responsibilities being an adult. Yeah. All right, I got to jump. I'll be back.
All right, we're grateful for what can be done. I love that guy. He needs to stop apologizing, man. He's doing a great job. He's done a great job from before day one, before I was going on air. So I mean. Yeah, exactly, Kasasi. How dare you have responsibilities, Mr. Grizzly? Yeah. Got all the wrong priorities. All right. So in Quebec, science required an overnight curfew. In other provinces, it didn't. In BC, science mandated for many months the closure of churches, but the continued availability of restaurants. Because everybody can worship at home. Everybody can worship at home. And the churches are not going to go out of business, or at least likely to go out of business than actual restaurants. And for most places, there were capacity limits. And a lot of churches decided it wasn't worth it. Just like a lot of restaurants decided it wasn't worth it, even though there were capacity limits. We still have some restaurants where I live, a lot of Asian restaurants in particular, where still don't have no seating. They have the storefront in the window, and they're still just doing takeout only still today. So, in Ontario, people were prosecuted for exercising in the middle of a field. No. The person was not one person. I think it was. Maybe two. Who knows? But people, when we're talking people, it's like we're not talking hundreds here. This might be a case of people like being two or three and using the plural. Were prosecuted not for exercising in the middle of the field, but for violating a bylaw. There was no stopping at one point. We were said, spring was coming, go take a walk, get some fresh air, walk through the park, all that kind of stuff. The things that we closed, go through them. Don't sit, don't stand. Because when you do, other people do. And next thing before you know it, you have a gathering in a crowd. Keep it moving was the order. Somebody decided not to do that. It wasn't for exercising. That's like saying when there's a curfew, like this, and you decide to go to the store for a bag of chips. It's like, oh, you got arrested for getting a bag of chips. No, you got arrested for breaking a curfew. What you were getting the bag of chips is how you were breaking the curfew. Exercising in the field is how the person was violating the bylaw. But you were violating the bylaw. They always do this. They always flip this stuff, right, to create more of a victim thing. Meanwhile, legitimate discussion about the safety and efficiency of the vaccines themselves was effectively suppressed by both government and social media. That is total false, because it was not legitimate discussion about the safety and efficiency of vaccines themselves. All of that discussion happened in the scientific forums and in the scientific world before it came to us. And then we had discussions, not all of them informed. It was not the legitimate discussion that was effectively suppressed. It was the blatant attempts at misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation and disinformation that, if other people could follow it, could cause them to fall ill or cause serious damage to their health, even death. Hello, ivermectin. It was about keeping people alive. And science evolves. We think this is our best hypothesis. This is our best theory. Oops, we learned something new. We're factoring it in. This is now our hypothesis. The science is always changing. It's so confusing. No, as we learn more, we know more. When we know more, we adjust. That's all that was going on. All that was going on. But that was Smith. But that was what Smith was talking about. The blind faith in government of so many Canadians and the venomous treatment of the designated out group. And what did she say about them? Right? It was like, what, 75% of us were like the people in Germany who just followed and approved of Hitler. Wasn't that? See, it's amazing when he says, like, let me say what she said. And that part of her quote is not in there. The part that was completely offensive is the part that he strategically omits from his article. The part that was the attack. I don't want to put words. So I don't want to put words in Danielle's mouth, but I'm going to remove words, the most embarrassing ones, out of her mouth, and then tell you what she meant to say. Now, the words that are not in his article. As everyone knows, I was against the use of vaccine mandates during COVID. However, the horrors of the Holocaust are without precedent, and no one... Oh, sorry. Whoa. Sorry. Whoops. That was her clarification. That's when she said that she wanted to move on. Sorry. Where is it? There we go. This is the words that he forgot. That's the test here, is we've seen it. Right? So when they're talking about the people that have succumbed to the charms of a tyrant, somebody tell him that they have all the answers, and he said, I guarantee you would see that. That is the test here, is we've seen it. We have 75% of the public who say, not only hit me, but hit me harder and keep me away from those dirty unvaxxed. And that's what
Really?
she said about us. And that's the sentence that Mr. Nigel Hannaford, while doing his apologia, right? That's the sentence he forgets to include. And for some reason, I have now lost the article. But anyway, you know where.
Trust me.
Now, if you were, so let's just go on because we're near to it. But he decides not to put that one. That's what she said about the 75% who followed this tyrant. Hit them and hit them harder. That's what we want. No. Keep
What?
us safe from people who want to actually present a who want to be potential vectors of right now, at the time, what was at the time, death.
Yeah. Isn't that job number one of the government, to keep the people safe?
Right. 75% of the people didn't want to be around people who could cough and sneeze on them and could potentially cause them to take ill and die. What a bunch of bastards and bitches we were.
Terrible, terrible human beings for that. Like
we wanted to stay
brutal.
alive. We got used to breathing.
We weren't floating in the ocean and the rescuer came and we pushed their head down to get ourselves above. That's not what we were doing. Wasn't a scenario like that at all.
It's like we were actually saying, listen, you guys want to do that thing? You guys get to do that thing, but you guys don't get to do it here. Your freedoms were not taken away. You were given a choice. The consequences of each choice were laid out, and then you choose your own adventure. Yeah. Some people didn't like their adventure. Well, I'm sorry then, darling, you should have made a better choice. And at anywhere during that adventure, you could have taken an off-ramp and chosen the other adventure. If you still haven't, that's on you. That's on you. Nothing. Yes. Lamenting the ease with which the German people accommodated themselves to Hitler's message, said, and that's, he did include it there. Sorry. I'm sorry. I take that back. He did include it at the end. And that's the test here. We've seen it. We have 75% of the public who say not only hit me, but hit me harder and keep me away from those dirty unvaxxed. And even on the cover of the Toronto Star saying, I want people who aren't vaxxed to get sick and die. I don't even care. I don't want them to get treatment. We're already hearing about people being denied treatment. And that's this Toronto Star cover here where, right, this one really offended them for some reason. Remember this? I'll blow it up a bit, see if I can get it bigger here. But that was this one here, right? They had this thing and they had a whole bunch of quotes from people. If an unvaccinated person catches it from someone who is vaccinated, boo-hoo, too bad. I have no empathy left for the willfully unvaccinated. Let them die. I honestly don't care if they die from COVID, not even a little bit. So basically, somebody went on Twitter and took the absolute worst tweets from left trollers, put it on the Toronto Sun, and said that this was representative of the left. Now, if you looked at the right, you could have made this exact same newspaper cover with comments from the right. They're trying to put stuff into us. This is genocide. This is Nuremberg. This is, they're tyrants. They're dictators. They're against freedom. I don't remember them wishing us well. Right? The streets go both ways. So if you are going to take the absolute worst of humanity and put them on the front page and represent them as being and say this is representative of the average person, and then you're going to take that and say that all these people, Trudeau is like a Hitler or a Pol Pot or a Stalin, and 75% of my country are going, yeah, get him. That's not what was going on. This guy here, remember, he said, let's have a serious conversation condescendingly to Miss Notley. Come on now. This is the job that he's going. And then, of course, the thing, we're already hearing about people being denied treatment or not being vaccinated, being taken off the organ donor list. Yeah, right. And if you want a lung transplant and you're not willing to stop smoking, you go off to the donors list. And if you're got a liver problem and you don't want to stop drinking, you go to the bottom of the list. It's like
this is nothing new.
Not being singled out for special treatment here. What are we becoming? A good question. And 18 months ago, it was the question of the moment. So many Canadians were ready to take freedom, trade freedom for security, and uncritically accept the authority of government. No, so many Canadians were ready to volunteer, to make a sacrifice in order to keep other people safe and healthy for not security, for staying alive. We got used to breathing. We kind of like doing it and we wanted to do it some more. And this was a respiratory illness.
no.
We did this like breathing.
Minimal sacrifice of privilege is what it was. We sacrificed some privileges, not freedoms.
Yes.
We didn't sacrifice any freedom, just privileges.
So that we could breathe.
I wasn't.
Breathe.
Yeah, I wasn't imprisoned. Were you locked in your house? Because I wasn't locked in my apartment.
I wasn't
go whenever I wanted. I sacrificed some privilege for the good of community. Not a new concept for a while. It's part of the social contract. It's the minimum state of the social contract where we make minimal sacrifice of privileges temporarily for the good of the community.
Yeah.
And if you can't see that for what it is, you're a selfish fucking prick.
The austerity measures we self-imposed during the Chrétien Martin years to get the dollar back on solid footing was the exact same thing. We all sacrificed a little.
Some more than others, but I didn't. I lost my business. Do you see me out in the street shitting, hassling people, honking horns, lighting fireworks off, occupying a neighborhood for 3 weeks because, things didn't go the way I wanted them to? No. I'm a very privileged white adult male. I get it. Life isn't fair. It never will be. And if you think life owes you anything, I got some news for you. Nope, it doesn't. You only get what you give. So give, stop taking. Jump again. Sorry.
Yep. And jumping out. Yeah. So let's finish off this thing here. The techniques of authoritarianism have been well studied, and Smith evidently recognizes them when she sees them. Yeah, of course, because she uses them. Not for the first time, it was her misfortune to assume everybody else would do likewise, and that what is in actual fact quite a subtle point would require no further explanation. Really? She overestimated all of our intelligence? You got traditional progressive conservatives like Tom Lucchese in Alberta saying like this. She repeatedly insults our intelligence. And this guy saying like this, oh, she thought we were sophisticated and intelligent enough to understand the nuance. Holy crap. Okay. And so an apology, like trying to twist your opponent's words, that's also politics these days. Say sorry and move on. In my view, no apology was necessary, but I'm not running for office. Pity about the puppy, though. After all, it isn't the politicians that it honors. One wears it for the veterans. Glad to see that, as the picture shows. She's reconsidered that. I guess later on, yes, they have a picture. Well, there's a picture of her wearing a poppy in the Western Standard, but there's no actual caption of when or where. So it's Nigel Hannaford who's telling that this picture of her wearing the poppy came after she said that, but there's actually nothing in this article actually documenting that for a fact. It could be a picture taken from any time, like May 7th, 2022, for example. If you're watching the show the other day, you get that one. That's when Danielle Smith or her team had posted on her Twitter feed. I'm working very hard this morning doing something, and it was a picture of her from May 7th, 2022 at a meeting. Anyway, now in all of this article, of course, he has one paragraph, the last one. Pity about the poppy, though. After all, it isn't the politicians that it honors. One wears it for the veterans. Shouldn't have that been the story of their article? Because that's what it was for us when we were reporting it. isn't it? The fact that she, as a political leader, basically said she was boycotting the poppy, and when you buy a poppy, that money goes to the legions. So she got mad. Well, she pretended to get mad because this is all performance art. This is all performance art. She pretends to get mad. Sees someone's not wearing a poppy tube. I'm not wearing my poppy tube because they ruined it for me. Thus, given her influence, pretty much encouraging other people not to wear the poppy, which means not buying one, which means not donating. She took her anger and she lashed out and took an action that would harm veterans. She made veterans pay for the decision that so upset her. So she claims. You're unfit. And right, Christian Larac ruined it, quote, for me. Hi there, I'm Danielle Smith. Me, 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 me. Oh, me, 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 me. You, no, me. That's what's going on. Get PC and bio. I'm pretty sure all the poppy money is used to fund rainbow flags. Stir in the pot, stir in the pot. The story here is about how, at that time, she thought it was a good look to take a move that if you follow it, if you think it through and you follow it down to the end of the line, that ultimately punishes veterans, which is never a good look, particularly if you're a conservative. Ask Aaron O'Toole, ask Stephen Harper, when they closed the veterans office, how that worked out for them. So, you do this, you think it's a good look. It goes to patriotism. It goes to judgment. It goes to common sense. Never mind that all the science information is wrong. Yeah, exactly. Kitlinda M. Yeah. Danielle Smith, she puts the me in Remembrance Day. Indeed, she do. Now, he takes some time to say pity about the poppies, though, because I guess he couldn't let that pass. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Grizzly is not here, and when he is, I will show it. But Nigel Hannaford, who is this Nigel Hannaford, who declared from up on high at the Western Standard that Danielle Smith did not need to apologize whatsoever for equating the poppy with the swastika. Pretty much. She didn't say those words specifically. But I mean, come on. Nigel Hannaford is opinion editor of the Western Standard, based in the Calgary headquarters. He was a senior columnist and editorial board member of the Calgary Herald from 1999 to 2009 and served as the chief speech writer to Stephen Harper from 2009 to 2015. And here's where we get the ultimate irony. A speechwriter for a prime minister literally puts words in the prime minister's mouth. And literally in this article, I don't want to put words in Smith's mouth. What? This article was a rescue mission. They're doing to her what the Republicans used to do to Trump. Trump would say something, catch it on video, because it would be very clear what he meant. And then it's like, well, what the president really meant to say was that, blah, 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 and then they put in a GOP talking point that was sanitized. And of course, I would show you the picture, but Mr. Grizzly's not here. But of course, Nigel Hannaford is a white man of a certain age. who was Harper's former speechwriter, and doesn't think, even though it was pity about the poppy, that Danielle said that she doesn't owe people an apology for misrepresenting 75% of Canadians as being the absolute worst of humanity based on a Toronto Star newspaper cover where they took the absolute worst quotes from people on the left, on our fringe, who behave in the same way as people on the right on their fringe, who actually have a whole lot more common with them than they would like to admit, because they think the nobility of their cause makes their actions different, even though they're the same damn actions. Just saying. There's a lot of people that need to smell themselves. Oh, Mr. Grizzly.
Check yourself
There you are.
before you wreck
One
yourself.
last visual there.
Okay, hang on a second.
This is the man. This man here. This guy. He's the one who says that we shouldn't be holding her to task. A nice,
The
white,
Western Standard.
older, allegedly heterosexual, allegedly Christian, conservative man.
You do remember that the Western Standard is basically the PR, media PR wing for the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church.
Yep.
So, it's...
So you would understand why it is that they would certainly not want the horse they have in the race to be viewed as
of course.
someone who would call 75% of the country weak enough to have followed Hitler. Because that is what she said. And the fact that she just didn't say, I truly believe that 75% of the country was so weak that if Trudeau were Hitler, they would have followed him and they would have loaded us all up in trains. Because, that's where she's going, right? There's never been a group more oppressed in her lifetime, she says. All the other groups that were oppressed have had people killed and murdered. Nobody killed or murdered somebody who chose to be unvaxxed. Didn't even come close. And certainly not the state. All right, kids. I think we have a show. Because that's a lot of news and a lot of heaviness. But yeah, people are losing their minds. People are losing their minds. And
clearly, very clearly. Yeah, let's wrap it up because I've not been able to give you the attention you deserve, and I apologize. But
please stop.
Got to keep the money rolling, and so I can keep the lights on here. Can't help it. It's my nature. I'm Canadian.
Please
sorry.
Stop apologizing. We love you. We know you're giving your best. That's not something for which you need to apologize. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope you love listening to us because we loved making this for you. Oh, and Kit Linda M just has some cool news. Canada took gold and bronze in the 57 kilogram weight class at the World Judo Championships, women's gold and bronze. Cool. There you go. There you go. Thank you. Oh, Kit Saucy, I see what you did there. Calm down, Mr. Grizzly. I see what you did there. Christian, à demain, mon ami. Toi aussi. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember that sharing is caring. So please, word of mouth, that helps us out a lot. Let your peeps know about us because democracy is something that you do. Write your MPs and if you can, make a donation to the Red Cross. Our brothers and sisters need us. And, it's not a time for thinking, oh, well, they said this about us in the past. People need help. They need help
Yes.
now.
Feel that.
And if the shoe
We
was
gotta
on the
help
other
people.
foot like this, we would want that too. So
Exactly.
we're Canadian. We do the neighborly thing. We roll up our sleeves and we pitch in. Right? We're all brothers and sisters here. Like I said, I'm not my brother's keeper. I am my brother. I'm not my sister's keeper. I am my sister. I'm not the keeper of Albertans. I am Albertan. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to
donate.
help each other out. That's what
Yep.
community is all about, right?
Yep. If you like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated, so please be generous. And we love to hear from you. So please reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. You can subscribe via our podpage.com, the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase with hyphens between each one of those words, and we'll come to you as soon as we have something fresh off the bandwidth. And as Kit Christian says, if you can't donate money, donate time. Absolutely. Everybody has something they can contribute. Everybody has a skill that can be put to use. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time. We're about a quarter away to have our first goal of 1,000. So thank you very much. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel we've done a particularly good show, if you're watching, well, we don't have the QR code, so let's skip that today. But if you're listening, let your fingers do the walking.
We do.
Oh, we do? Okay, good. To coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters, and right by Mr. Grizzly's head, the QR code just appeared. It's like, Mr. Grizzly, you just made hair appear on your head. There we go. Right by the hair. There you go. Good save, Mr. Grizzly. Good save. Thank you. So there you go. Please make a donation. And thank you so much to Kit Linda M, who made a donation to us after our swearing show and voted for more swearing. Love you, boys. So we have one vote for more swearing. If you want us to swear more, send us money. If you want us to swear less, send us money. I'm shameless. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, oh, you're popping back in. Okay. Some words of wisdom before you go.
You can't be with the one you love.
Love yourself.
Well, there's a joke in there. No, it's I'm not gonna say it. The joke is, if you can't be with the one you love, find someone and that person. I'm paraphrasing. That's not exactly what he said. He says, if you can't be with the one you love the one you'll with.
Do.
So show gratitude. Yeah, you'll do. Yeah, you'll do. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I've been said that. I've had that said to me. You'll do. I'm like, so.
It was more like that'll
How
do.
about no?
That'll do. No, I'm kidding.
No, I've heard that from a woman. You'll do. I'm like, you won't be gone with you. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. No. Okay, let's roll the credits. Actually, before we roll the credits.
Oh yes.
Let's roll this.
Saturday.
Welcome to the place where everyone knows your name, where everyone's your friend, where good times are had by all. Sit back, relax, pour yourself a beverage and enjoy our company. I know we'll certainly enjoy yours. Welcome to the True North Eager Beaver Pubcast. Once a month, we gather at the Lieutenant's Pump at 361 Elgin Street in downtown Ottawa, Canada's capital city, bringing you joy and happiness all day long.
That's right, Mr. Grizzly. All day long. Not half the day, not a quarter of the day. All day
long. And we go live. We go live at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. this week, is it 1? Yeah, 1. We're going a little bit early, starting earlier, 1 hour earlier.
Because
normally
Mercedes
we start at 2. That's right.
Yeah,
she has time.
Our friend
she
Mercedes is using it. Yep.
Yeah. So we go live at 1 p.m. on Saturday. We'll see you then.
Yep. Roll the credits, sir. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Okay, Jen, give it back. No, Jen, it was just a loan. Jen, no, it's my crown.
Trying
Jen,
to keep it.
Jeez, make her.
Gotta be careful there.
See you, kids.
See you tomorrow. I'll be present. Trust me.